For over 2 millennia, they stood silent guard in the dark earth, an army of clay meant to protect China's first emperor in the afterlife. That's the story we've all been told. But what if the Terra Cotta Army wasn't just a tombside monument? What if it was something far more complex, far more ambitious, and even a little sinister? What if we're looking at the world's first and largest hidden biological laboratory? Today, we're going beyond the history books and asking a radical question. Were these 8,000 life-sized soldiers, each with a unique face, not just protectors but blueprints? Blueprints for creating life itself. It sounds like science fiction, but the evidence we're about to uncover might just change everything you thought you knew about ancient China. Let's start with the sheer scale and detail. 8,000 soldiers. Every single one is different. Different hairstyles, different facial features, different expressions. Why go to such extraordinary lengths? Traditional history says it was to replicate the emperor's real army. But think about the logistics, the incredible cost and manpower. Was it really just for a symbolic gesture, or was there a more practical, scientific purpose behind this obsession with individuality? This wasn't just a matter of art. It was a matter of anatomy. The level of detail in the muscles, the bone structure, the very posture of each warrior is astonishingly accurate. Ancient sculptors weren't just making statues. They were creating perfect anatomical models. This precision suggests a deep understanding of the human body, an understanding that goes far beyond what was needed for simple funerary art. Could it be that each soldier represented a specific template, a data point in a massive real-world experiment? This brings us to Emperor Qin Shi Huang himself. He wasn't just a conqueror. He was a man obsessed, consumed by a single burning desire: immortality. He sent expeditions searching for the mythical elixir of life and employed countless alchemists to unlock the secrets of eternal youth. He was a man who would stop at nothing to cheat death. So, would a man like that be content with just a clay army for the afterlife? Or would he use his immense power and resources to conduct a secret grand experiment to actually create or sustain life? Now let's get to the truly strange evidence found at the site. When archaeologists first unearthed the warriors, they weren't the dull gray figures we see today. They were painted in vibrant, lifelike colors. But these weren't just ordinary paints. Analysis has revealed that the pigments used contained complex organic binders. We're talking about things like egg tempera and animal glues. But why use organic materials that would decay underground, unless their purpose wasn't just to add color? Some researchers are now proposing a mind-bending theory. What if these organic compounds were part of a formula? A kind of substrate intended to interact with something else, to act as a catalyst. Imagine the warriors as more than just clay and paint. Imagine them as vessels prepared with a specific organic chemistry, waiting for the final activating ingredient. This wasn't decoration, it was preparation. And that brings us to the most mysterious element of all: mercury. The ancient historian Xi'an wrote that the emperor's tomb contains rivers of flowing mercury, simulating the great rivers of China. For a long time, this was dismissed as a myth. But recent soil samples from around the tomb mound have shown incredibly high concentrations of mercury, far above natural levels. The legends were true. Mercury, to ancient alchemists, was a substance of immense power. It was believed to have life-giving properties and was a key component in many elixirs of immortality. Of course, we now know it's a deadly poison. But they didn't. They saw it as a magical, transformative element. So let's connect the dots. You have thousands of anatomically perfect human models, each a unique template. You have these models coated in a complex organic, biological compound. And then you have a vast, sealed underground complex filled with mercury vapor. Could the emperor's plan have been a form of proto-science, a massive alchemical experiment? The idea might have been that the mercury vapor, the spirit, or life force in their view, would permeate the tomb and interact with the organic binders on the clay soldiers. The goal? To animate them? To transmute inanimate clay into living flesh and bone. The unique features of each soldier would ensure a diverse, functioning army, not just mindless clones. He wasn't just building an army for the afterlife. He was attempting to create an immortal army he could command in a new, eternal life. The tomb wasn't a grave, it was an incubator. A gigantic, subterranean biological laboratory designed to spark life from non-life. This theory also explains some other oddities. Why were so many weapons found with the warriors' real, functional bronze weapons, sharpened and ready for battle? If it's just a symbolic army, why the need for real deadly weapons? It only makes sense if you expected them to one day actually use them. Furthermore, the layout of the pits is strategic. It's a military formation complete with infantry, archers, and chariots, all poised for combat. It's a snapshot of an army on the move, frozen in time, as if waiting for a single command to spring into action. The emperor wasn't just commemorating his army. He was staging it for an awakening. Of course, this is a radical departure from mainstream archaeology. The established narrative is that the Terra Cotta Army is a magnificent, but ultimately symbolic funerary object. A testament to the emperor's power and his desire to carry that power into the next world. And that view is supported by plenty of evidence. But great discoveries often begin with questioning the established narrative. By looking at the evidence through a different lens, we see a new, startling picture emerge. The obsession with anatomical accuracy, the use of strange organic pigments, the vast rivers of mercury, and the emperor's fanatical quest for immortality. When you put it all together, the idea of a giant alchemical laboratory doesn't seem so far-fetched. It paints a picture of an emperor who was not just a tyrant, but a visionary, albeit a misguided one. He was using the most advanced knowledge of his time, alchemy, biology, engineering, to attempt the impossible. He failed, of course. The clay soldiers never stirred. The mercury that was meant to give life likely brought death to the artisans who worked with it, but the ambition is breathtaking. The project wasn't just about conquering death. It was about creating life. The Terra Cotta Army might represent one of the most audacious scientific experiments in human history, hidden in plain sight for 2,000 years. It's a silent testament to a time when myth, magic, and science were all intertwined, and a powerful emperor dared to challenge the very laws of nature. So the next time you see a picture of a terracotta warrior, look closer. Don't just see a clay soldier, see an anatomical chart. See a biological recipe. See a vessel waiting for a spark of life that never came. The truth of the Terra Cotta Army might not be buried in the earth, but in the radical ambition of the man who created it. What do you think? Was this a funerary monument or a failed attempt at godhood? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an exploration into history's greatest mysteries. See you next time.